You know, I spoke on this fight with David Benavidez and David Morrell, and I brought up the fact that, you know, for this to be such a great matchup, a boxing fans fight, especially all the people that, you know what I'm saying, that act like, you know, that they love the sport from the main media standpoint, you would think a fight like this would be on the lips of all those diehard boxing aficionados. But when it comes to this fight, it wasn't. Every time I looked up, you know what I seen an article about? Or I seen what people were talking about? It was about Ryan Garcia, what Ryan Garcia was doing in Vada, and Teofimo Lopez, what he was doing in the fights that he was turning down. It seems like to me the media spent more time talking about two people that has been highly inactive in the sport versus this very good prime, because that's what it was, prime meat. You know what I'm saying? Two fighters in their prime, fighting on time, not delayed, not stretched out, but a fighting exactly when the peak interest of the fight is at its highest. These guys fought. That is something that we claim that we want, yet they hardly talked about this fight. Now, as I went around talking about the fight and listening to what people are saying, I know I'm not the only one that got the feeling that the boxing world wanted David Benavidez to lose. They really did. And when you look at an article like this, you just can't understand where could they possibly be coming from. David Benavidez didn't lose no stock in that fight. And they're saying, well, you know, if Morrell had been more experienced, he'd have stopped David Benavidez. True, Morrell needed more experience, but I learned something in that fight, okay? Morrell was never going to overcome David Benavidez's durability. And not only that, his stamina, his durability and his stamina was better. So by watching that fight, now that I seen that, you know, what David could truly do, I said off rip, you know, he needed to press David back. But now I see, even if he went that route, it still wasn't enough. I would think even with the experience, David still would have beat him. I see that now. David still would have beat him. Just his durability alone. I mean, Morrell couldn't eclipse that. You know, but it was definitely no stop, dropped, or loss with this fight. Like I said, there was at no point in time that David Benavidez wasn't in control of the fight. He never lost control. Never. So the fact that it's even an article like this exists lets me know what I was feeling prior to the fight. They didn't want David to win because they don't want nothing to be a threat to Canelo, which I don't understand because it's not going to happen. Okay? You ain't got to worry about David Benavidez versus Canelo. You know what I'm saying? All Canelo fans seem to be worried about that and all that other stuff. You ain't got to be worried about that. Because number one, if Canelo was going to fight David Benavidez, you would have seen Canelo did exactly what Benavidez and Morrell did. If Canelo was going to fight David, he would have fought David already, because you want to fight David before he gains any more experience and confidence. So if it was ever in his plans to fight David Benavidez, he would have done it already. He wouldn't wait till he gains the experience and gains more confidence and gains more skill to go fight somebody that he never really wanted to fight at their greenest state. So he definitely doesn't want to fight him now. So what does that tell you? He doesn't plan on fighting or going nowhere near David Benavidez. So what they're worried about, they don't even have to be worried about, because it's not going to happen. But trying to say that if Morrell had more experience, he would have fucked David Benavidez up. Well, it wasn't a big enough gap, or Morrell didn't have a big enough lead for me to even say that. Like I said, at no point in the fight was David Benavidez out of control. He maintained control and he played the ring general every single round. You know, so when I see stuff like this, I scratch my head, but then at the same time, I know better, because this all goes back to what I've been saying. If you pay close attention to boxing, the people who are about that life, the people who are not afraid to lose their oath, the people who are willing to challenge themselves, are the people criticized and disliked the most in boxing. You now can add David Benavidez to those ranks, because now it's clear. Boxing don't like people like that. They don't like people like Crawford. They don't like people like Usyk. They don't like people like David Benavidez. They don't like people like Anthony Joshua. They don't like people who's actually willing to gamble on their own talent. The boxing world has been sending us signs, and it's been showing that they don't respect people who actually get in there and live a fighter's life, and who's willing to give the fans what they want. I'm beginning to think that they believe that that's anti-business as far as boxing goes. We're not into the best fighting the best and stuff like that. Because if we was only doing the best who fight the best, then you'll figure out that my fighter ain't shit. And I don't want you to figure that out till at least I made this many millions off of them at A, B, and C. And that's what's going on at the end of the day. Notice all the people who excel in boxing or do good things in boxing or move in boxing how us as fans want these boxers to move, the mainstream media dislikes them or try to discredit them or put them down or underplay them or under promote them or ignore them or act like they don't exist or act like they got to go do A, B, and C before they can go do this, that, and the third. All you got to do is pay attention, man. Now I'm 100% positive in what I've been saying thus far. The writing is on the wall. How could you possibly walk away and think the performance that David Benavidez put on dropped his stock in any type of way? It is just freaking amazing. Leave your thoughts on this. Like, comment, subscribe. Bruce Vane, I'm out.